It has been a little bit,
Hmm.
but we have reached the end of Al Experience's The Yakuza series.
We're finally at the end of the road here.
This is it.
Yep,
It's all that's left
I know.
until we play the new game, and then we'll both be experiencing it. So it
Yeah,
won't just be you.
it no longer becomes Al Experience Yakuza series. It becomes just a regular episode of the podcast.
That's true. Hello, welcome to this week's episode of the Season Anime Checkup OVA. It's a podcast where we have conversations about video games, anime, and manga. Hello, I'm Jared, joined as always by Doc Al and Ladium.
Hello.
This is episode 247, and it's time for Al to experience judgment.
Judgment.
We are going to we're going to lay judgment on Al here today.
I don't want to be judged.
That's just what happens.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no. Rip.
Ripperoni.
Hmm.
So yeah, the last time we experienced something was back in the beginning of July.
Jesus, has it really been that long?
It's been that long.
Wow.
I mean, we kind of like took a little bit of like breaks here and there because I think, going through 7 Yakuza games in a span of 6 months is a lot.
Yeah.
And also other games finally came out
Good Lord, did
and other
they?
stuff came out.
I'm drowning. Please help me.
So we had some other stuff that kind of showed up on the docket in between this, and also we had to finish this up before the sequel comes out next week, or I
Yep.
guess in a couple of days when this comes out.
Yep.
So yeah, we started off by playing it a little bit here and there, and then like we rushed to the end of it essentially.
Yep. Yep.
So it was a little interesting way to play it. So we kind of missed out on some of like the side content here and there, but I mean you got the main story, which is kind of what you need
Hmm.
in order to go into the sequel and all that sort of stuff.
And some of the side content.
Yes. Um, really not much has changed since we last talked about this game back in 2019.
Hmm.
They came out with a remaster of it for like PS5 and the new Xbox, which like ups the frame rate and all that sort of stuff and just looks a little bit better here and there. So like that's a new thing that's available. But I believe like other than that, that's kind of it. Also, they're making a sequel.
Yes.
Those are the two real only things that are that are new here in terms of like new information when it comes to this here video game.
Hmm.
I guess Sega did say back in June of this year that the game had topped 1 million units sold,
Oh wow.
which is pretty good for a Yakuza spinoff.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
Good for them.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if this is. I can't tell if this is for. Okay, so apparently in Japan,
Hmm.
when it came out, Judgment was the most successful release for a new IP on the PS4, Xbox One, Switch generation of consoles until that record was broken by Death Stranding.
Ugh.
But still, like that's again
Not bad.
not bad for a Yakuza sequel or a spinoff.
Spin-off.
So yeah, we have talked about the story at length, or at least I
Hmm.
tried to relay it to you, I guess I should say.
Hmm.
And then you retained none of it, so you got to see all those cool spins, twists and turns, and then you spun around like a record baby, and
Right.
then you were
Round,
like,
round, round.
"Whoa, ski whoa,
Woskiwo?
whoa ski whoa!" When you got hit by all those twists and turns.
Oh, I mean, it was crazy.
Yes, so there's
Absolutely
all that.
bonkers. A lot of them I was very much not expecting.
True and true. Um, I suppose we do have a bit of an update on one legal matter that came with this game.
Is this the Coke?
This is cocaine related, of course.
Cocaine and cocaine
Yeah.
accessories.
So if you did not listen to our last episode on this, or if you were unaware, there was a Japanese actor by the name of Pierre Taki who was supposed to play Hamura in Judgment. Before, I think right after the game came out, he was arrested on suspicion of cocaine use, and then they pulled sales of Judgment in Japan, and Sega basically replaced him in the game with like a not real person looking character model and a new voice actor. Later on, they sentenced him to 18 months in prison and 3 years of probationary suspension, I guess, for cocaine use. So he was pulled from this game, and also he was pulled from being Olaf in Frozen. So that meant he was pulled out of Kingdom Hearts 3 as well.
Oh, shoot. Rip.
So there's that.
I'm sure that was a pretty devastating loss of a paycheck.
Yep.
Oof.
And also, he had to go to jail for a year and a half.
Yeah, I mean, that also sucks. I guess I should have considered that as also a bad thing.
True, but also apparently he still gets work, so
Good for him.
he's in a movie that came out either this year or is coming out later this year. So unless that came out or that was filmed before he went to jail and stuff. So yeah,
God.
there's that. But yeah, most of the stuff is pretty much the same in terms of what we have talked about before. But now you have experienced the judgment.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're gonna talk about Al, you experiencing the judgment.
The judgment.
I'm gonna ask you one question first off. What's a better name? Judgment or Judge Eyes?
I feel like given the game itself and what happens, I think Judge Eyes is a better name for what goes on. I like Judgment because it's also a tie-in to the song Judgment from Yakuza 0. I think that Judgment makes more sense to a Western audience, but I personally like Judge Eyes better.
Yeah. I mean, they also, they changed it for both releases with Lost Judgment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the only thing that's different in
Lost
Japan
Judge Eyes.
Yeah, is like that the game over there has the subtitle.
Mm-hmm.
But here it does not. But yeah, they basically kind of just merged everything together.
So is it Lost Judgment Judge Eyes there?
It is Lost Judgment Unjudged Memories.
Unjudged.
Yeah. So the game in Japan was also Judge Eyes Wills of Death.
That's pretty freaking cool. Why didn't we get that?
Because they just went with Judgment.
Yo, if they had done Judgment, whatever you just said of Death, that would have been really cool. That would have ruled.
But this is the thing where a lot of the Yakuza game subtitles we lose
they
over
also
here
get
as well.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible. Which one do you like?
I mean, I'm partial to Judge Eyes because it sounds goofy and weird, but also it makes sense in the context of the game.
Yeah.
But Judgment makes sense, like you said, from a Western audience. if you call a game Judge Eyes, you're gonna be like, huh? To a lot of people.
Yeah. I mean, I probably would have been like that, except for now that we've played it. I'm like, oh, I get it now. But yeah, it would have been a little confusing. But I do, after us finishing it, I like that better. But I definitely understand why they went with Judgment.
Yeah. Of course, this was the first game that had an English dub in the Yakuza series since the first Yakuza game.
Wild.
Which we played through the English dub because that's how I played this game originally.
And it's very good.
It is very good, yes. You are 100% correct.
Holy moly, it's good.
Mm-hmm. Everyone does a really good job in this.
Hats off, Greg Chun.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, dude. Man. I mean, hats off, everybody. You all did a great job. I still can't get over the fact that Shay's in something like.
Well, apparently she's only in the second game.
Oh.
She replaced the original voice actress in this one.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because I was also because I was looking in the credits, I was like, wait a minute, was I wrong? And then I just looked it up on here. It's like, no, she replaces. And I was like, oh, okay.
Okay. Well, that makes more sense then.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess we will hear it then in a week. Less than a few days.
Yes.
Anyway.
I had to pre-order that game at some point.
And there's in here.
There's what?
Gavin is in here.
Oh, yes, from that one game that we're not going to name.
We're not going to name it. No, it doesn't exist anymore.
Nope.
But it featured one bird cop
Mm-hmm.
who is now a baby lawyer.
Small lawyer.
And he sounds just like Gavin. He uses his Gavin voice 100% here.
Mm.
Anyway, the dub is super good.
Yes, I agree. Um, how did you feel about, because you've now seen all the Yakuza games prior to
Yeah.
this? How did you feel about the way this game is like, set in that universe, but obviously just a very different story, and just like how it kind of like coexists, but also is its own thing in this universe with the other Yakuza games?
I think it's actually really cool because I mean, obviously, like the Yakuza and organized crime and all is a pretty big deal, and there's still a lot of this involved here. Um, but it shows like different sides of like what's going on in Kamurocho and what are the people doing and what's really happening here besides like what we're so used to being the center of attention. Um, I really, really liked that. It made everything feel way more alive. Like Yakuza already does a pretty good job of like making everything feel like these are people who actually have things going on, even if they're stupid things. Like people exist and do stupid side quests outside of just like whoever main character you're playing as. Um, but this takes it to a different level in the sense of like you know, there's definitely stuff going on that has nothing to do with like Tojo at all.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it just really was a great way that they built on a universe that they had really built up through the other games.
Yeah, and like it's an easy kind of just like transition to go from one kind of crime drama to another kind of crime drama.
Correct. Yes. Yes. You're not wrong.
Because it's not that much of a leap in logic to go from just, action crime drama to detective crime drama or like noir style crime drama, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like one of the things, like just coming back to this game and playing through it again, is just like it's such a smart idea to just make other things in this universe that you've already made, like created a well established universe through 7 games prior to this game coming out, and now another game and this as well,
Mm-hmm.
to where like it's so easy to just be like, okay, well, we don't need these sets of characters to tell this kind of story. We can create this other set of characters to do this kind of story. And also, if like we wanted to do other stuff in this universe, that we have like the ways to do that now. Like we have the possibility. The possibilities are like endless now, to where like you can tell any kind of story you can in this universe, whether you set it in Kamurocho or you go to any of the other various locales that the Yakuza series have gone to. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, which is essentially what they're doing in the sequel, where you're going to Yokohama now, which
Mm-hmm.
is the setting of Yakuza 7 and everything. But like, it's just an easy way to do that, and also it's an easy way to mask the use of reutilizing assets,
Correct.
which is a smart way to do that, where you're just like, oh yes, we're just telling a different story in this place, but also we're just going to reuse the stuff because that's just easier on us.
Yeah. No, it makes a lot of sense. It makes a
Mm-hmm.
whole lot of sense. I do also like that like there are some like here and there references to Yakuza, but there's no like, oh look, here's a cameo type thing, you know?
Right.
Like, no, we're not involved with those characters at all. This is a completely different thing, and I appreciated that.
Mm-hmm.
Would have been weird if they're just like, oh look, there's Majima.
Yeah, like
Majima
you kind of have to
everywhere.
separate like these two like series in a way to make it so you're not just intermingling everything together or having fans expect that. I mean,
Yep.
Yakuza 7 kind of is that if you want it.
Yep.
Whereas
And
like
I think Yakuza 7 it works though because
mhm,
you're still in the same kind of drama.
yeah,
And like you said, this is a completely different genre of drama. So like
genre drama.
you don't cross the streams, you know?
That's true.
Mhm.
That's what they say.
That's what they say.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, Judgment. We played this like you said, or like I said, over the course of like 2 months. So
Mhm.
it's been a while for us playing through it. But how is your experience going through this game? Because obviously this is the combat game now in terms of
Mhm.
how the overall series is now, where the Yakuza series is now the JRPG series, which is a weird thing to say still. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, what was your initial like? What did you think of the story and everything? Like, what did you think of Yagami as a character and all that sort of stuff?
I really liked Yagami. I'm concerned about what's going to happen with me in the future because of like all the weird shenanigans that have been going on.
Mhm.
Um,
Which I guess for people unaware, there are contract disputes. I guess is the easiest way to say it between his agency and Sega, to where people
mhm.
are unsure if like he's gonna come back for any more games or not. So it makes it very curious about what they will do with that character in Lost Judgment.
Mhm.
So that's all up in the air. But yeah, go ahead and continue.
I'm going to make a strange comparison here.
Okay.
I feel like some of what Yagami's got going on here is kind of like Hobo Phoenix
Mm-hmm.
in the sense that like something bad happened and kind of has to step away from it, but he's still like in a shady way really participating, even if he's saying he's not.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean like he's a really cool dude. I like him a lot. I like his little pal bro. Hey, what's the word I'm looking for?
Pal bro.
Pal bro. His relationship in general with Kaito is great.
Mm-hmm.
Like their riffs on each other and their dialogue together is just like really, really, really well done.
Yeah.
Um, and I do think that something that's interesting about Yagami is that he really does come across as somebody who like has some trauma, understandably. And like a lot of that trauma is just guilt based. Um, but his reaction is generally like, well, time to shut down. Do 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 do. None of this happened.
Mm-hmm.
um, I also I've mentioned this before with Yakuza. It's really really nice to be able to play as like girl adults.
Yeah.
It's really really good. Um, because like he is solidly in his 30s, I think,
That sounds about right.
and yeah, he's got his he needs a freaking bed. Good lord, does he need a bed? Um, but his little thing, and he's got this detective agency that he's proud of and feels like he can do something with it. Um, and I think that that's a neat thing that like he's had so much to struggle with his experience as a lawyer. And so this is his way of kind of navigating and helping
Mm-hmm.
without actually being a participant. Again, circling back to my Hobo Phoenix.
Yeah.
Um, which I mean, there are obvious, very obvious Ace Attorney references in this at times.
Very.
Um, so I think that that's a natural connection to make with Hobo Phoenix, but um, yeah, he's a cool dude. He has a very flat butt, but he's a cool dude.
Got that wallet chain.
God, that wallet chain. That's like the first thing I noticed. I'm like, what is that, dude? What are you doing? It's so bad. It's so bad. Um, and I mentioned it earlier. Greg Chun does a fantastic job.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's definitely able to pull off like everything from the like silly snarky conversations he has with Kaito to like very very serious traumatic moments. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Very, very. Um, so I'm interested to see what they do, especially again, given the fact that it's like, ooh, are they actually gonna still have him do things after this, or what are we gonna do? And like one of the questions that I asked you is that they revealed that there's gonna be DLC for the new one, and part of that DLC is Kaito.
Hmm.
I was like, are they setting Kaito up as the new pro tag? But I guess we'll all find out after we play the
Right.
game.
I feel like it'd be weird to like announce that early and that be like the twist.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean,
But who knows?
who knows? But I am glad that we get to play as Kaito at one point because Kaito is a good boy. And I feel like it needs to be said.
Hmm.
I like him a lot. Even though he has the most hideous shirt. God, it's hideous.
You can't be a Yakuza like person who looks like a Yakuza person without having just a wild shirt.
It's so shiny.
Yeah.
It's so shiny. And he's just like, let me just have my big old man boobs out. Grr. I am tough boy.
He is a tough boy.
He is a tough boy. Um, he's also a good boy. I don't actually know where I'm going with any of this. I'm just talking at this point.
Hey, that's what we're here for. We're just chit chatting,
Mm-hmm. But I do really like Kaito.
having a little chitty chat.
Little chitty
Um,
chat.
so obviously you didn't play the game.
I did not.
Did you? What did you think of some of like the new like investigation additions?
I like that you can find kitties.
Yes.
Um, I think that the tailing goes on too long.
I agree.
And
I
it's
think
not,
most people will agree with that.
yeah, it's not very well implemented in terms of how you can hide. Although I did find it very funny sometimes that you're just like, oh wow, look at this wall, look at this wall. Yeah, wow. And they were just, all right, I'm moving on.
None the wiser.
Um, so that was definitely something that needed improving, and I think you said did improve,
Seems like it.
which is good because that was not great. I was fine with the investigations.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like I said, the kitties were fun. And that includes, I guess, the drones. Like you do some drone investigations.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine. I didn't hate it. I'm trying to think of what other mechanics were there.
Chase sequences were returned
Mm-hmm.
in like more of a major way than they had been. I think in Yakuza 6, so it was more of a return to like that 3 through 5 style, but they kind of just existed here.
I mean, you get to chase that man's wig a lot.
I did get to chase that man's wig a lot. And then there was like the other things of like, you have to present the right evidence at times, ask the right like questions or answer the right answers at times, so you can get those SP
I
boosts.
did like that. Yeah.
Yeah. To make it a little bit more like, oh, this is an investigation game.
Mm. Although it was funny at points because it would like default to like the stupidest answer, and we're just like, oh yeah, let's answer that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm trying to remember exactly what the one question was, but it's like, yeah, what's going on here? And you're just like, how about bullets? Let's do bullets. It was really, really funny because it made zero sense as an answer. It's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was good. Were there any others I'm missing?
Not off the top of my head, but we would have done more like tailing stuff if we had gone more into like side missions.
Yeah.
Because that's where like they really pushed a lot of that.
Ugh.
So kind of lucked out in that aspect.
Yeah.
But yeah, how did you think or what did you think of like the friendship mechanic?
Ah, that feel with no GF.
Yes, that fuel and no GF.
We had no GF.
Yo, GF.
Um, I mean, again, it was a nice way to like make it feel more alive and less like an isolated story.
Right.
Because you could like go and talk to all these random people, including like your landlady, and she yells at you to pay your rent. You're like,
Mm-hmm.
how about no? Um, a lot. But and there was the like the one booby lady that was an awkward hostess that we're like trying to find somebody for
Mm-hmm.
that the panty people. I think all of them were interesting. And it really, even though like we weren't serving as a detective for all those people, it felt more detective-y because we're actually like getting to know some of these people, which would help in that kind of profession, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I liked that fine. We didn't get a girlfriend because for one it was a lot of work, and man, that's sad that I'm just like, oh man, it's a lot of work to get a girlfriend. uh, um, but weren't they all just like significantly younger than him?
Yeah.
So that was also a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
We'll probably have to do that in the sequel, though.
yeah, because there's a girlfriend boost in the sequel.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just have to find the one that's least weird.
We'll probably do all of them. So
All we're gonna get all the
that
girlfriends
face went all girlfriend, all
that
GFs.
that feel went all GFs. Oh man, crazy. Except for the one that like I actually would be interested in us dating. I don't think we could date.
Probably not.
Rip. Even though canonically it makes the most sense.
Yep. So yeah, there's all that sort of stuff, and then a lot of like the side quests kind of tie into that because they're just like sub cases essentially. It's not like just random going out in the street and running into someone like, oh, here's our side quest. Like some of them are like that, but a lot of them are just like, hey, people are coming to you with your problems, and you know you're doing detective work.
Right.
You are a detective, and a lot of like the later ones kind of get locked behind. Oh, you need to progress through the story enough. You need to have this many friends, and that's how you unlock some of like the later ones here and there. And a lot of those like come from either like your office. You can go to the Gendala office to get some, or you can go to bartender and get some. So you can get jobs from various places, and at least they pay a lot of money,
Mm-hmm.
which is good.
Good.
Who doesn't love
Good.
money?
Money, 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 money.
Money.
Secret money.
Thank you. You are welcome.
Amazing.
So yeah, I think like the only other thing to really dive into here that is important is the actual story,
Yes.
which we played through all that. You got to watch a lot of twists and turns here and there, and you were just astounded at a lot of them.
Yo, some of them like were crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I just was not expecting them.
So tell me how you felt about the story.
I mean, generally I thought it was very good. I think that some of it was a little like long-winded, some of
Mm-hmm.
it was, but I think that it ended up tying in together in a way that I was really, really satisfied. A lot of the twists I did not see coming. And I'm sure that like if I if you replayed it and I watched now that I would like pick up hints here and there, like the ones that you were telling me about with the like next chapter type things
Yeah.
or the intro, or even just like subtle nods or whatever. But there were a lot that I was like, whoa, I did not see that coming.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, I mean, it's intense. There were a lot of intense ones. I mean, you got to experience it live, so you got to hear me screech a
Mm-hmm.
lot. Um, but I think it really did a good job. And I think that the cool thing about it is that it initially started off and it felt more like, oh, this is going to be more like Yakuza stuff with like turf war. Oh no, these Yakuza dudes keep dying. And then it just turned into something entirely different.
Like it's a turf war murder mystery, and then it just blows up in a way that you're just like, oh, this is way more than that.
And so I thought that was really cool that I was expecting like, this is going to be like us solving some Yakuza stuff in the background, interesting, like turf war stuff. But it's like, no, you think it's that, but it's not that at all.
Right.
I'm like, all right, I'm into that. Um, that was pretty dang cool, and again, like unexpected.
Right. And I think it's interesting as well, like that they keep some of those twists all the way up to like the end of the game,
The very end is crazy.
which is a wild thing to do. Because like you really have to bank on like, oh, this really has to hit, or if it doesn't, that's going to really sour the experience at the end of the game.
Yep. Man. I mean, some of them are just like crazy well done.
So let's dive into some of those twists, because I think that's kind of the main point of the game.
Okay.
Because if you want to listen to like the entirety of the story, go back and listen to the other episode where we did all that. But I think the first one that comes to mind of you really being just left in awe is the reveal of the mole.
Yo. Threw me off, man. I was not expecting that. Like, at all. I should have coming. Why did I not see it coming?
Because it's Matt Mercer, and why would he voice a bad guy?
Why would he voice a bad guy?
And he's just a cop. He just, he wants to get the job done.
See, that's how I should have known he was a bad guy. I mean, I knew he was a shady dude because he just came across as like an the whole time.
Right.
But I didn't realize he was that shady.
Yeah.
Like, he just sucked. Obviously, he was a bad dude.
Because I know, like Hamura says who it is, and you're like, wait, who is that? And I was like, oh, that's Matt Mercer's character. And you're like, wait, no, you're joking. Tell me you're joking. I'm like, no, I'm telling you the truth here.
I'm really bad with names.
No, yeah.
So they dropped the name, and it's like, who? Do I know this person? It was Matt Mercer all along. And then you were telling me about like the nods, like they're like, oh yeah, this is a little hint there. I'm like, no. That's so crazy. But yeah, I did not see that one coming. And I still don't really know how to handle that information. Like, yo, he was a bad dude.
Yep. It was really good.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that you were a little like, when I was just like, who's that?
I mean, I know you, so like I understand the name thing. So I was just like, all right, I can connect this to you into a way that'll make it make sense. And then you're like, whoa.
Yeah, it took me a bit to actually accept that was the truth. I thought you were with me.
No.
I know. No, he turned out to just be a super bad dude.
Yep.
Who like murdered people and enjoyed doing terrible things.
But I think Matt Mercer does a good job of just making that character, once like the twist happens, like just making him feel even more just slimy and just terrible. So that was real good.
Yeah, he did a great job.
What else is there? We get the big reveal that everyone's just behind AD9 wanting to succeed.
Yep.
From just government officials to the prosecution, and you're just like, oh, this is very bad.
Man, when we're in the like weird love hotel, and the one guy's just like, I think we'll just let everything go. That's fine. I was like, no. And like little nerdy Shono dude is back there like, I'm like, oh, you butthole. It's you. You're the reason.
Yep.
I mean, we could even consider it a twist that like butt cheeks out man returned. I did not expect to see him here.
He's always around.
He just finds abandoned buildings with bathtubs and is like, you know what? This seems like a good place for me to hang out with my butt cheeks out.
As you do.
As you do. And he does it. And we keep running into him. Poor man. We shocked him.
We did. He's going to have to find a new weird place to hang out in.
He is. He's going to find another abandoned building to be ass out. What other twists do we have?
Sugiura being Emi Terasawa's brother.
Yeah. I didn't expect that one either. And I love how Yami's like, oh, I guess, yeah, it would have been you. I didn't recognize you. Sorry, dude. He just seems like so like nonplussed by it.
Yeah.
Like at this point, Yagami will believe anything. So much has happened. I knew something was up with him at one point because when we were in the arcade with the undie pants man.
Yeah, when they're interrogating Kido.
He says something about Emmy, and he just like loses his mind and like pulls out a weapon and is like, yo, like, what about innocent people? I'm like, you seem very, very interested.
Unnerved.
Yes, like something hit a nerve on you, buddy. And I was trying to remember at that point. I was like, what was his motivation for joining us anyway? I don't remember. And then like when that reveal came, I was like, everything makes sense.
Like I think he initially says he wants like information about the Kyorei clan or something like that, essentially. And then he's like, nah, that's not actually what I was here for. LOL.
That's a lie.
And so like, oh, all right.
And it makes sense that like he would recognize Yagami at the beginning.
Right.
Like when he was in his like dumb mask. Doing mom's dead parkour.
Mom's dead parkour burglary.
Or sister's dead parkour. Burglary.
Hard
but
word
yeah,
to say.
You know, one or the other. But I did think that something was up when he like reacted so strongly to the panties man. Because he just like lost it. I'm like, whoa.
Easy there.
Back up, buddy. Yo, you're gonna make our delightful arcade man who is hosting us while we interrogate this man in his underpants. You're gonna make this floor dirtier than it already is if you end up punching him or something. Like, come on, he's being a gracious host in his arcade. He ended up being one of my favorite characters, actually. That weird guy in the arcade.
Yeah.
Because
he just keeps begrudgingly having to join up with you, and just like by the end of it, he's just like, all right, we're all pals. I'm part of the crew.
Funny. It's so funny. Oh, Max. He just stepped on the laptop. I'm sorry. Are you still here?
Yes.
Okay, good. Max, don't step on laptops. Yeah, he just goes for like, no, why are you here? Why are you in my arcade? I don't want anything to do with you. Kaito, go away. No. And like he just keeps having to do that, and like sometimes we just show up and they're just like, oh god, you guys are back. Why are you back? Why are you here? Until finally he's just like, all right, cool, I'm part of the gang. Let's fight.
Yep.
I was like, I love this guy. Like he was genuinely one of my favorites. He was a good dude. He got beat up a lot.
He did.
He wore his like stupid glasses. It was awesome. What a dude. But yeah, so that one wasn't as shocking to me as the mole one because I knew something was up with him, but it
Yeah.
was still like I didn't expect it to be that.
Right.
I didn't expect that to be the answer.
Right. I do like how the one prosecutor guy who's always been kind of crappy to us joins up with us like immediately. Is like, yeah, okay, these people are being
Yeah.
bad. Let's do this. It's a very Ace Attorney kind of mild twist there, where it's
Yeah.
like, all right, we're gonna work together and force these people to tell the truth here.
It really did feel like an Ace Attorney thing because once you actually like tell him what's going on, convince him, he's like, oh yeah, that sucks. Well, I I guess I gotta help you now.
Mm-hmm.
But don't tell anybody because we gotta keep this under wraps, you know.
Yep.
Okay. It's like, all right, all right. It reminded me more of like what's his name? Gavin from um Apollo Justice.
Mm-hmm.
It reminded me more of that than like a Edgeworth type thing because Gavin by like in every single one of those trials, once he realizes like once he starts getting to the truth, he's still like pushing you, but he's like, yeah, no, we got to get to the right solution here.
Right.
Yeah, this dude's like, yeah, I can't be seen in this office, but I gotta help you. Or like the one time in the trial, he's like, oh yeah, it was just really compelling what he was
I
saying.
was really enjoying listening
I
here.
was liking that. It's like you nerd. It
um.
was great.
Yes. Uh. One of the other twists I think near the end of the game that I enjoyed was when you find when the raincoat killer shows up at like after you get out of the arcade or the not
Hmm.
arcade of Koi Bride, and you're like, who in the heck is this?
Yeah.
And then it cuts to the trial, so you don't know yet. But then it wraps back around to you learn that it's Hamura coming to help you out.
Yeah, because I was like, oh no, it's Matt Mercer again. Why is
Mm-hmm.
Matt Mercer here? It was not Matt Mercer.
Mm-hmm.
It's Hamura in a
Mm-hmm.
raincoat. They're two raincoats.
Which I think is interesting because like essentially it's just an enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah.
But I think as well like him watching Matsugane die in front of him and Matsugane like dying for him
Yep.
made it so he's like, A, I have to like go into hiding so I don't die. B,
Yeah.
those guys. If I can do whatever I can, I will make sure they all go down.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a lot of it. Is that like when he saw him die in front of him and he died for him, he's just like, no. All right.
Mhm.
I have no loyalty to you guys now. Even to the point that he's just like, all right, well, he's dead. Cool. Matt Mercer was the killer. Just so
Yeah.
you know. All right, I'm out. Bye.
It's like he's at that point where he's like, Yagami's my only choice, my only option here.
Yeah.
I need to go to him to get this settled and get it right. Which like
Yeah.
I think it's even more wild that like he gives him the information obviously of like the voicemails and everything, the conversations that tie Ichinose to Hamura and everything to really blow open the case. But he comes in and testifies.
Yeah, he comes in and testifies. He just walks up and is like, yeah, that's me. That's him. Yep. Which is wild because like he starts out as like the villain of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I still don't think he's a good dude, but like
No, but like he really wanted I think just to do this to
he just wanted all of them to go down.
he wanted all of them to go down and also get revenge for Matsugane, and I think he also realized like, yeah, Yagami's also in that same boat, so
Yeah, like he
why
saw
not help
like
each other here?
for one, like Matsugane definitely cared about Yagami, so
Mm-hmm.
I think he had enough respect that he's like, all right, he saw something in you. I got to help you out. I can't just let this all go
Yeah.
to waste.
So I thought that was a real interesting reveal. The way they also like set it up, I think, is really good. To where like
It was really good.
you see the thing and you see Yagami react, and then it cuts to the trial, and then once you get to that part of the trial where he's like, "All right, I got this evidence," and it cuts back, and it's like, "Who's giving you the evidence?" And it's like, "Oh crap, it's Hamura."
It was so well done.
Mm-hmm.
And I also love that as you know, say it's like, you've been saying a lot of things here. You've been saying a lot, but where's the evidence? Yeah, he's like, oh, I got it. No worries.
All right, let me show you.
I was like, all right, cool. It was good. It was very good.
And then like the last real twist is like at the very end of the game,
At the very end.
where after you beat up Kuroiwa
Twice,
and he gets shot the by the cops.
Dude, they just don't stop.
No,
they are making sure that man's down.
I mean he is a definite murderer, and he has
Yes.
murdered a lot of people in his way just to this place where they're fighting. So I guess they're like, yeah, we got to put this guy down.
God, they fired so many shots into him, and he was still alive somehow.
Yep. They missed all the vital organs. He just got full of holes. But yeah, you see the thing where Shono, he's like, I'm gonna inject myself with 89. It's complete. I did it. Yay! And then he does it, and he's like, oh no, I made a mistake. I made a huge mistake.
I also like the juxtaposition here of was it Keto doing the testimony? He's like, yeah, he told me like it's a failure. It's over. It's done.
Like that toxin is in you. You're done.
Yeah.
You will die a grim death.
Yeah, like that juxtaposition of that happening, like while he's like, yeah, I did it. I finally got it, and injecting himself. I was like, this is really well done.
Mm-hmm. And then you get the final reveal of like why all of those people had their eyes gouged out is because their eyes turned like this blue hue or whatever. And if people had seen that, they would realize, oh, something's real weird here. We're going to do autopsies on their bodies and figure out what's in their bodies to make them do this.
Mm-hmm.
And if all of that had happened, the human experiments would have all been found out.
Yep.
So like it's interesting how like that all just ties back around to where like, you know, by that point you probably already forgot about the eyes being gouged out and all that. And
the only reason I really didn't is because at one point, Kuroiwa like says like, I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna gouge your eyes out or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I was like, why do you just have a thing for that, buddy? Like, you got some weird habits.
Yeah.
And I think that might have been why that dialogue was there, was just to kind of like throw you off for a bit.
Also just remind you that was a thing.
Yeah. But man, the way that they like actually showed Shono's eyes after and like how creepy they look, I was like, Jesus Christ. And it was super well done. Mm-hmm. Now I know why they don't have eyeballs.
Mm-hmm. Heck. I think as well, like that whole like last fight and just like that whole setting up for that last fight is just really well done in terms of like atmosphere, because it's like a thunderstorm rolls in. It's like just storming as you're fighting Kuroiwa.
The
like,
windows are broken out and the rain.
Windows are broken out. Lightning just keeps striking here and there and like makes it just feel very sinister. Like it's just
also
all
that
really well
like
done.
sky bridge is on fire outside.
Mm-hmm.
You have a concussion, maybe.
You get a concussion.
See ghosts. We never really get an explanation on that though.
Building's haunted.
Building's haunted because even
Sugiura.
He's like, yeah, I just heard my sister.
Mm-hmm.
And
maybe they both had concussions.
Maybe. I mean, he did get flung too. But Yagami's like, oh yeah, I'll explain that later. I'm like, you're gonna explain the ghosts?
Just kidding, I'm not.
No? Okay, cool, I guess. Yay, we have concussions. Oh.
Speaking of concussions.
Max, are you okay? He just ran head first into the wall.
Speaking of concussions.
Hi, buddy. Oh my god. Why is my cat like this?
He's a weird dude.
He is a weird dude. But
he loves to get concussions on the podcast.
He really does. But yeah, all those twists were super well done, and I really, really enjoyed it. Especially the ones that had like the like I said, the Matt Mercer one was crazy. But like the juxtaposition ones at the end with like the Hamura and Kido saying like it's a failure, like those two in the courtroom were really, really, really well done, just narratively.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Matt Mercer one's like, what? I just thought you were a butthead. I mean, you are a butthead, but you're a murdering
I'm an even bigger butthead.
You're murdering butthead, who apparently just really likes to murder. Messed up. Heck. Yeah. The twist just kept coming.
And they don't stop coming.
I knew you were going to do that. I knew you were going to do it as soon as I said it. Amazing.
Good twists.
Very good twists. Very, very good twists. I was very pleased by them. Did any of them hit you different playing it again?
I mean, it feels like they're good. I don't think they really had like the same like just like oh my god like when I first played through it. I think the only thing that was really interesting was that one thing we talked about where like the previous Elon where like it very clearly points out like hey, this is this, this is this. But if you don't know, you don't know. But if you've played through before, you're like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I got ya. Gotcha.
Man.
Man, oh man.
Man, oh man.
Was there anything else you wanted to talk about in terms of this game or the story or anything with regards to the video game, Judgment, Judge Eyes, Jeez?
Jeez. Um, can't think of anything. Not off the top of my head, anyway.
All right. Like we said earlier, Lost Judgment comes out literally in a couple days, which is very exciting. The sequel to Judgment. Get to go to Kamurocho and Yokohama both simultaneously. You get to go to a high school, apparently. You get to hang out with a dog. There's new quests. There's a bunch of new just side activities. You get to play a master system in your office.
Yay!
Which is real wild. Which I
and
get,
better
which
than the pinball.
which is just like the actual games because they have save states and stuff like that.
Amazing.
Just real wild. And also Sonic the Fighters is in it. So that's a thing. But yeah, like it seems like they've, from the demo I played, they've done some quality of life stuff for some of the gameplay. Like some of the tailing stuff is a little bit better in terms of like what you can do in it, and just there's new skills that seem to be real interesting. And I am very much looking forward to playing that game.
I'm looking forward to you playing that game and me
Yes.
experiencing it.
I also like how the way they kind of announced this game, which was just like they announced it in May and then were like, hey, it's coming out in September.
Yeah.
Which
That's
I think,
legit.
honestly, more game companies should just do.
Yeah, I agree.
It'd be like a couple months out. Hey, this game's coming out in a couple months. You don't have to be like, oh, we're making a game. And then 5 years later, be like, hey, we're still making that game.
Looking at you, Bayonetta.
And 30 other games, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Fair.
I'm very much looking forward to playing Lost Judgment. And then we will talk about it, when we get through it all.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
With a normal episode and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Like I said, it'll be just a regular episode instead of an Al Experiences episode.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be fun, though. I'm
So there
all
you go.
caught up now.
You are all caught up. Welcome to being knowing all of the Yakuza series now at this point, essentially.
Yay! I feel so intelligent now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all caught up, and I am better for it. And it's also convenient. Is it convenient? Maybe that's not the right word. It's also amazing that the same day that we are doing the ending of Al Experiences Yakuza, that my Yakuza hoodie arrives.
It's a really good coincidence.
So there you go. Coincidence. That's the word I'm looking for. It was good. I'm glad that it showed up today. I'm gonna wear it when it's not 90 degrees outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, this has been a wild ride, and I did not expect to love Yakuza and Yakuza tangent related media as much as I do.
Mm-hmm.
What the heck have you done to me?
Good things.
Good things. You got me into some good media.
I try my best.
Good job, buddy. Good job.
Yay.
You deserve some applause. And now I've seen a baby being thrown and 24-hour Cinderella.
Whole host of just other stuff.
Chaos, basically. And
No, that's a different game.
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. And so I guess, yeah, we'll see what we get hit with in Lost Judgment. get to see more Kaito, who I adore. I hope we get to see more of the Arcade Man too.
I don't think I saw him in the demo.
No.
But again, the demo was like very short, so
Yeah.
I would assume he's back in there at some point. Either
I hope
way.
so. I loved him. He was so good.
Very good. That's gonna do it for this episode.
Yep.
So yeah. If you would like more from us, head on over to seasonalanimecheckup.com or sac.cool, where you can find past episodes of this podcast and other podcasts like Jared and Now Watch. You can also find columns and reviews on the site as well. If you'd like more from Anladium, go to anladium.com. She's got columns and reviews, and you can watch her on Twitch at twitch.tv/meydalennA.
Yay.
You can follow us on Twitter and TikTok at Anime Checkup. And you can buy our books, One Shiny Moment, A Critical Analysis of Love, Life, Sunshine, and Hot Tubs and Pac-Man on Amazon.com.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, you can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/SACOVA. Buy us a slice of pizza, get access to unedited versions of the podcast early, and a wealth of bonus content as well. Next week, we'll talk about something else.
Something else.
So look forward to something else.
Mm-hmm.